of the TV.
Today it didn't happen at all.
Well, right now he needs to make sure he holds on to his seat,
Right.
which is slowly slipping away from him.
It's just an incident. You need to be really careful what you wish for, like.
Oh, that's so sad. Shit. Oh shit. Hold on. Okay, let's start the episode.
Okay. Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back to episode 4 of rookie season.
Let's dive into it.
Yes, this has been an exciting week because we had the first sprint of the season, first sprint weekend, and what a way to start the weekend!
Oh my god, it was something to watch, honestly.
Yes.
Like, woof.
Seeing Hamilton in red, first taking pole, and then winning. As a Hamilton fan,
I felt so good. Oh my god. I think my weekend ended there.
You stopped watching, you switched off the TV.
Today it didn't happen at all for me, it's just yesterday happened and yesterday was it. I was there for the weekend.
Yeah. It's unreal how excited people got with Hamilton winning a sprint.
Yeah.
But after Melbourne, I think people needed that hope. Like his fans needed that hope that Ferrari was not the wrong move, and that Hamilton still got it.
I kind of agree. Yeah, as one of those fellow fans, I kind of agree. We needed to see whether this would really be like a terrible season, or was it gonna just be a one-off race?
Yeah,
thankfully, one-off race is the answer we got.
For sure. And from the way he reacted on radio, you can tell it meant a lot to him as well.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, he was quite happy.
Even as, in fact, the reaction to him winning the sprint quali and finding out that he was P1, and he had this little like chuckle going on for the end. Oh, it just felt right. He felt genuinely happy for his win, and I think that's something that's going to last with him for a while.
For sure. And the other notable things in the sprint was, of course, that it began with what felt like, we had time traveled back to 2021 with Verstappen and Hamilton
fighting it out. Oh my god.
First row, fighting it out. Verstappen got close to Hamilton in the beginning, and then it fell away from him quite a bit. And there was someone to take advantage of it, the man from Melbourne.
He really monetized on that one, and I think it was a great overtake too for him to just bounce over Max like that in the sprint.
Yeah,
it was kind of perfect.
Yeah, he took P2, and a lot of people thought at that point, like the commentators were saying, that they thought once Piastri took P2, it was game over.
Yeah.
Because the McLarens had a lot of race pace, and they thought he would take P1 eventually.
Right.
But A, I think it was quite late in the game. And B, actually, Hamilton really sped up after Piastri took P2. He was like taking no chances.
He had a comfortable 5-second lead at one point, if I'm remembering correctly, and that was like the defining point of me being like, okay, you know what, I can rest easy. He's taken this race. There's nothing happening.
Yeah, sprint was so exciting, and coming from that, I feel like the Ferrari fans had a lot of expectations for the race qualies.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, wasn't the worst. 5 and 6, P5 and 6.
Yeah, but I mean, they finished P5 and P6, so I wouldn't really say that they did their absolute best. Although, given the circumstances, fair enough, they did well.
What are the circumstances?
I mean, your boy was racing with a broken wing.
Yes.
He finished his race with a broken wing, did not take that time cut, did not take the loss of time out there at that point where it would have really hurt his race.
Do you think anyone is to blame in this collision that happened between Hamilton and Leclerc, which resulted in a broken wing for Leclerc?
I would say it's actually Leclerc's to blame. If he really want to go finding and pointing fingers, then I would put it onto Leclerc. But I do genuinely believe that it's racing. You can't be aware of all four. It's just an incident. You can't be aware of all four corners together. It's hard.
Yeah.
And I think
fair enough.
The boy said it best himself.
Yeah, but it was really surprising to see how well he held on with that broken wing.
He was actually faster than Hamilton on the race
which is why Hamilton was told to give him a place.
Controversial moment, don't you think?
Quite a controversial moment. Hamilton didn't seem the happiest, but he did oblige with team orders and let Leclerc pass because he was the faster car.
Right.
But I don't see this being the norm, in the sense I feel like if this keeps happening,
Mm-hmm.
at some point Hamilton's gonna pull a Hamilton and be like, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very possible that he does that, considering he's got experience under his belt, and like you can't
Yeah,
keep asking a
yeah, and
seven-time world champion to be like, "Hey, listen, just
yeah,
sit on the side now for a
And
take people
Hamilton's
now."
not gonna want to ever feel like the second driver, right,
Yeah,
in the
true
team.
that.
So he's gonna not oblige with this.
Do you think though that this is something that's very dependable on what position they hold as well? Like if they were in a P1, P2,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe Hammy would have not
Of
done it.
course.
But
Yeah, no one's giving up P1 except
yeah,
Norris, but
I mean, okay, he did the right thing there.
again, controversial. In 2024, should he have? Would that have won him the Drivers' Championship? There are a lot of questions.
There are way too many questions
Yeah.
about that. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but
fair.
speaking of Leclerc, like it's really sad, but we just saw before recording this podcast
Yeah.
that he might be disqualified.
Yeah, him and Gasly both, their track times might not matter because their cars have apparently been weighed in underweight.
And it's really funny because I was cracking this joke that I was hoping Russell's car is underweight again.
This is why you don't. This is why you don't. You should be really careful what you wish for. Like
I know, that's so sad. Yeah, we don't know yet, guys. But by the time this podcast goes out, we'll have a better idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, seems like Leclerc might be disqualified, and Gasly.
And Gasly.
But I don't think Gasly was in the top 10 anyway.
The Alpines have honestly been having a very hard time, I believe.
Yeah.
The entire weekend actually they've performed abysmally. From the sprint quali where they were knocked out in Q3, in Q1, sorry, even in the race quali where they were knocked out again in Q1, and then to see how they performed in the race is just something of not saying right. What do you think? I'm gonna reserve judgment.
I don't know why he did what he did. Like that was a dirty move to make, and you're already like back of the pack. You don't need to be so elbows out aggressive. Right. And what did it do for you? You just got a track, like you got a penalty.
He lost he lost 2 places because of that.
Yeah, which is just a stupid move to make. Because right now he needs to make sure he holds on to his seat,
right,
which is slowly slipping away from him at this point. Like it really does seem like they're going to put Colapinto in there, which obviously is adding some stress. But you can't be making such rash moves onto your once fellow team, like not teammate, but Isaac and him have raced in F2 together, and like why do this?
Agree. I agree.
Speaking of seats under danger,
I was just gonna get that. I was literally just about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Liam Lawson.
I feel bad for the man, but do I feel bad for the man? Like, he came on to the season so aggressive, being like, we saw in DTS, he was like, it's so tough to see people underperforming when I thought I could do better.
Yeah.
Then we saw him give Perez the middle finger. And it really did seem he is like that, max counterpart of aggression.
Yeah.
And that man's just stuck at a place where aggression's not going to get you far, because what are you going to get from P20?
Right.
It's a very tough place, and I think his seat's definitely under danger.
Yeah. It probably is. Although I believe from the news I read just before we started right now, Red Bull apparently has a big meeting coming up to figure out how they're going to close down the gap between him and Max.
So they have also publicly, both Max and Horner, said that they're making the car just for Max. I mean, not in that many words.
Yeah, but in their own words, of course, we've all heard it.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that? Because I personally believe if you're gonna build a car towards your first driver, your second driver cannot be under scrutiny, because you're not giving him the car that's going to be comfortable for him to drive, which is what the case is in most.
I completely agree. And at this point, it seems like no second driver is capable of it. From Albon to Gasly to, our man Perez to now Lawson, like every second driver has struggled. And I think it's a very big gamble that Red Bull is taking, because if Max leaves tomorrow, well, not hypothetically tomorrow, what are they going to do? Like, who's going to drive this car that only Max can drive? Like, where are they going to find Max 2.0, So it's a big gamble, and there are a lot of people saying only Ricciardo is capable of it. I saw somewhere which was like Charles Leclerc has the same driving style, bring him, as if That's gonna happen. Ferrari's gonna let
That'll
that
be a very
princess.
bleak day for racing.
I mean, Ferrari's not gonna let that happen anyway.
But for him to get into Red Bull would be something that's just.
Can you imagine Leclerc not in red?
It doesn't seem right.
It's not happening.
Can you imagine him in white maybe? It's science.
No, Sainz back in red. That's what I can imagine.
No. I like my boy in red. Okay, he looks
but,
good.
Okay, at some point Hamilton will retire, right?
Yeah, by then even Sainz will retire. He become an engineer. Clearly, he's going for it.
Yeah,
we saw that last week.
We'll see what happens, but Lawson, I feel like definitely they should give him another chance.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, the best thing for his career probably would be for them to promote Yuki and see if he can do better. Put Lawson back in the Racing Bulls, which is evidently a good car at this moment, and see what he can do there. Because, otherwise there'll be this constant comparison on him. Oh, Yuki should have had the seat. Yuki should have. Give Yuki the seat. Just see what Yuki can do. If Yuki can also not perform.
But you do realize they'll incur penalties in millions if they try to do this. It's something they can do, but they don't want to.
I'm sure, but if they want to win the championship, the constructors.
But is it worth giving up so many penalties in a year when you can just make it the move legally at the end of the year?
That only Horner can answer for you.
Fair enough.
Because 1 year of driving like this, where your second driver is like under P10 every race, maybe Lawson will improve, maybe he will, but I've seen the Albon's interview where he says that every race, your ego and your confidence takes a hit, and it just becomes more and more and more difficult to drive this car, which is what will happen because every race Lawson doesn't perform. Podcasters like you and me are going to sit here and be like, oh, Lawson this, oh, Lawson that, and Lawson's going to not hear us, but hear someone and be like, underconfident going into the next race. So they have to do something.
Yeah.
And it's not like Max is winning the races either.
I mean, the car isn't performing, fair enough, but there is still a 12 place gap between.
Which is what I mean. Like, it's not even like Max is getting P1 and getting that many points for them.
True. Okay, yeah, in that sense, I agree with you.
Yeah, so they can't rely just on the fact, oh, at least Max will do his job. Max is doing his job. He's doing it really well, but he can't create miracles.
Yeah, true that. Speaking of seats kept and not kept, George Russell's contract's expiring at the end of the year. We haven't heard a peep about that from anyone.
We saw a really interesting photo, didn't we?
Flavio.
We saw a photo where George Russell was hugging Flavio.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Flavio is currently part of the Alpine team and has also been a very, very notable figure in F1 before. Also a lot of scandals in F1 before. Should look into that. Might be a little bit of a fun read for y'all.
Yes, and this picture, I don't know if it's gone viral, but a lot of people have seen it. And it's making people think that, is Russell making moves? Is he worried?
Russell making moves or is Flavio making moves?
True. It could be Flavio making the moves because he's like this.
He's a hustler at the end of the day.
Agreed. But if Russell moves, let's say to Alpine, who's coming to Merc? Like Antonelli being the lead driver, I don't see that. Like he's a great rookie, but come on.
Maybe there'll be a ghar wapsi for Hamilton.
And then Sainz can go back to
Ferrari. Be like, let's return these drivers to where they belong, please.
Too much chaos, too much. Okay, let's be honest.
Realistically, though.
Because there's also news. I mean, not news, but Zach Brown controversially said in an interview that he sees Max leaving at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And the only place he sees him going is Mercedes.
Yes, that's true. But that's also true because, Toto's looking into it.
Of course.
At some point. And, if he has to give up George's seat, he's going to give it to Max if that's an option.
But does Max want Toto?
Max wants money. Max is going to go for it.
But Max is getting he's the highest paid driver on the grid. He's getting 65 million, more than Lewis, who switched to Ferrari.
I'm sure Toto can match it.
Agreed, but I'm saying he will only, I feel, he is here to win.
Yeah.
He will only switch to Merc if he feels like he can get that winning car, which Red Bull cannot give him anymore. Okay, so Merc has to do something to prove that to him, I feel.
But aren't they proving it already with Russell's car being in front of his?
That's true.
Overtaking his.
Russell's become like this, like no one's talking about him, and he is silently
He's
getting
like the
podiums.
silent assassin that's
Yeah,
just coming in and taking podiums
yeah,
every race very
guys.
quietly without anyone noticing.
Yeah, Melbourne he was P3.
Yeah.
Now China he's P3.
It's so weird, right? Like you see this guy who is just so quiet on the track. Off the track, you hear a lot about him. You see him doing all these things, but when it comes to on track, I don't hear a word from the commentator. I don't hear his radio messages.
Yeah,
nothing, no controversy, no drama.
Yeah,
it's
quite
straight driving, just reaching
Yeah.
the point where he has to reach. In fact, today I think was the first time I heard the whole part where he very early part of the race told his engineer that we're going one stop.
Yeah.
He pulled it off.
He loves his like one pit stop strategy.
He's a great tire manager in
Yeah,
that sense.
he really is.
He really does know how to manage his tires.
I'm glad Norris like took the lead from him early on because I feel like otherwise it would be difficult.
It would be very difficult, yeah.
Yeah, Norris has disappointed me a little bit this race weekend. I feel like, with Melbourne, he kind of put our worries to ease from the 24 season.
Yeah.
Oh, he can't hold his position in P1. Oh, he makes stupid mistakes.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like Melbourne made us feel, oh, he's grown up.
Yeah.
But then come China, like he sprint qualies, he had to bail out of his last lap. Race quali, he had to bail out of his last lap. So it's been a little bit of a dicey weekend, I would say, for Norris. And not for the reasons I initially thought. Like, if you saw my predictions for China, I thought McLaren won't be there because of the wing regulations and stuff. Piastri clearly proved me wrong, P1 and P2. But Norris has just had a very quiet weekend. He did come P2 now.
Yeah.
But that's not where he wants to be, right?
Not ideally. Ideally, he wants to hold that top spot. Although, I mean, in the points, I think he's still on top.
Yeah, he will be. I'm pretty sure he will be because his only direct competition was Verstappen after the sprint, which will now there'll be a bigger lead because Verstappen got fourth. So let's see how it goes. But I feel like for McLaren, with their whole papaya rules and no lead driver, it's gonna get spicy because two races, two different McLaren drivers have got
fun for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen because if Norris had won both races to start the season, I feel like even though they say no lead driver, there would be that little bias towards Norris. But if it continues as it is, Norris is not gonna get any partiality whatsoever.
I don't know how much I agree with that because at the end of the day, I mean, it's like McLaren does need to decide for themselves what they're about to do.
I agree, but they evidently don't want to. They want to be some democratic little club in here.
It's not a country. It's a racing team. At the end of the day, you have to favor the person who's doing better. And I think that's part of the defining factors for both of them racing the way they do today is because they both want to be top dog and they're both trying to prove themselves. But well, I mean, I guess I'm just glad that they aren't pulling off what Charles and Lewis pulled off today and injure each other. So if that's not happening, I think it's healthy.
Agreed, but I feel like we can only discuss this again maybe halfway through the season because depending on which way the scale tips, I think will show if McLaren really believes there's no lead driver, or we're gonna start seeing the stupid theatrics again of telling people to hold back and stuff. That brings me to the favorite part of our reaction podcast, which is our faves and fails. So, Joshan, what was your favorite moment and what was your fail moment from this race?
Favorite moment this race, I would say, has to be the first turn. Oh my god.
Yeah,
watching the chaos go down on that first turn today was it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was almost fully clean, but it wasn't completely. And I think it's very rare to see that in today's time. So I think that would be my favorite for sure. Fail, and this is something that baffles me. Please, Scuderia, whenever you get a chance, post some explanations. Because what was Hamilton's last pit for?
I think
was he. I mean, from what I understand, he wasn't pushed out on extremely old tires, so they couldn't have gone bad that quick. There was no mention or no time taken to really adjust the car, so I'm pretty sure that's not the reason he went in. the only explanation is a tire change, and at that point, I question why.
Yeah, the whole top five stayed out,
Yeah.
and Hamilton was the
Only one. Yeah, in fact, he lost a spot because of that.
Yeah. I know. I mean, we both assumed that they thought they were undercutting,
Mm-hmm.
but it was very clear from Russell's radio and the way Piastri, like, it was quite clear everyone was trying.
They had all spoken about their plans quite early in the race.
Yeah, it was quite clear a lot of people were going for the one pit
Right?
stop
Yeah,
strategy.
yeah.
So for them to think undercutting, I'm pretty sure that feels kind of stupid, which maybe is to be expected from Ferrari at this point in their strategy. But Hamilton should have known better. He should have been like, no, I am not doing box.
Yeah, yeah.
So I see that why that's a fail for you for sure.
What about you?
My favorite moment is Behrman saying ciao.
Oh my god, that kid has some sass. In the post-race interview, he felt bad about it, apparently.
He was like, oh, now I feel bad, but it was so funny.
It was
guys.
very funny in the moment.
And he didn't just do it once, he did it twice. Every time he was passing a car on radio, he's like, ciao. So funny. And I think Behrman with his little baby face, innocent face, saying that makes you make it lovable.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was
what if it was Lawson?
Yeah, if it was Lawson, we'd be like, oh, so much ego.
Right?
But Behrman, he looks so innocent. Like him or Kimmy. I feel like them saying anything, they're like, oh, he's just a kid. Oh, so cute.
See, this is exactly why I got a new nickname for Kimmy. I'm just gonna call him Ant-Man. He's so small on that map. You feel like he's gonna be underwhelming, but he's not.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, he got, I think, P8. Right? Yeah. Still killing it. So Behrman was P10 and Kimmy was P8.
Yeah. He's the only two rookies to be up there.
I like it. And my favorite moment, Hami was one of them, and I think the second was maybe Doohan doing his antics, because I feel like it was really not needed. It was not in good spirit, and I don't get it when you get so dirty at the back end. Like, you're not even fighting for points at that point, and I feel like you should respect the car, the $1 million car you're driving, and not try to mess around with it. So for me, that was not any big fail for me this race, but if I had to point out, then maybe that.
Yeah, fair.
And if Charles gets disqualified, then that's a big fail.
That's the fail for both of us then at that point. Yeah.
That's so sad.
I'll just be like,
yeah, because Ferrari will miss out on big points as a constructor.
That'll do it.
Oh, and speaking of sad things, there's no race next weekend. What are we gonna do? What are we going to watch? IPL?
No, we're not going to watch the IPL, but we'll definitely give these guys something to watch.
Yeah, we'll come up with something fun for them, right? Yes, so stay tuned for that. Until then, bye. Shit. Oh, shit. Hold on. Guys.
What is going on?
We just finished recording our podcast and we saw the news.
3 drivers have been disqualified. Like, what? Are you serious?
My heart hurts. I can't, guys. We were talking about how Leclerc and Gasly might be disqualified.
And now Hamilton's also been included into that, and they've all been disqualified by the time we're done recording.
God, they're disqualified. Okay. Yeah, that's all. We just wanted to come and let y'all know that
and share our pain.
Yeah, because we couldn't let this not be in the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. Both the Ferrari drivers who were P5 and P6 are now disqualified. It switched up the whole grid with Gasly gone. Sainz is now P10. He's in the points. So the first time.
Yeah, Williams has picked up double points this weekend because of that.
Are we behind Williams? Is Ferrari behind Williams?
I think they are currently. Might be.
That's it, guys. That's it.